ladies and gentlemen, Maggie Emerson. And I'm super excited about this. So I've known you for a while, but I don't like know you. So I'm excited to obviously get to know you a little better, learn about your expertise and stuff. But two exciting things. First one is this is my 100th episode. So I was going to pop confetti and blow a thing or whatever, but a little bit of a milestone for me. So I'm excited about that. My 100th episode.
Yeah.
But for everybody listening, part of why I'm so excited to talk to you is, and I hope I describe you the right way, but you're a money mentor is how I'm gonna describe it. You're an entrepreneur. You've got the Profit Lab, and basically, I'm trying to remember the exact wording of it, but you essentially coach people and mentor people and help, especially females, embody wealth and, attract money and know how to do it and all that. And so it's fun. Timing of it is cool for me because, like I said, it's my 100th episode, which is exciting for me. It was actually a goal when I started the podcast to get to 100 episodes. I was like, I'm going to at least stick with it till 100 episodes. And now I've got 103 scheduled. So I'm I hit the goal, the benchmark. But on the topic of money, I'm excited about it. So, I'm in a cool stage of my business where we've been growing like crazy. And for the last 5 years, so many things in my business I've just done because the way I've done it. You know what I mean? I just have been doing it. And I started to pay way more close attention to our money model. I just hired a fractional CFO, and I'm really now leaning into that world. So I get to selfishly, have an hour of one-on-one mentoring and pick your brain and all that stuff. So anyway, all of that to say, I'm super excited.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's awesome. And I love that this is the 100th episode.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
It'd be, maybe we'll I don't know, it'll be permanent no matter what. But anyway, yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
So to start, I want to talk about, and obviously topic of conversation, really what I want to dive into is money.
Yeah.
And, a lot of the things that you teach people. And I'm really excited to learn more about the Profit Lab and, some of these other things that you offer. But I want to start a little bit before that and talk to me about your journey getting into this as your job, as your gig. And I saw somewhere, correct me if I'm wrong, but you have a couple employees now and it's kind of, you're seeing some serious success with it. It's really cool.
And I have contractors. I don't have full-on employees if you look at the differentiators. But yes, I have people that I get to pay, which is awesome, which is a whole different ballgame. Yeah. But yeah, let me just take you. So now everything that I've done on my journey to this makes sense. But in it didn't. So I was a broke, struggling single mom here in Durango, on my own, trying to doing these different things, but didn't know my worth, didn't know my value, was in a relationship that was not healthy, and just a sad, outside, you look at me at that time and it was oh, she's got it going on. But inside, it was just this internal struggle of why am I working so hard and having all these accolades and this money piece sucks.
Not showing up.
Yeah. And so over time, it was in those moments of times of really the hardship in those times, somehow I always made it through, which is awesome. I was when I learn how to do this, I am teaching other people. That's who I am. When I recovered from eating disorders, that's what I first did was I helped people heal their relationship with their bodies. And then I got into the online world and was online business manager and did all the things, social media. So I knew all the back end. And then I got into something called Joy of Business, and I taught that for a while. And all throughout, there was still that humming struggle. And then over time, I ended up, I had an earring business. So I made earrings morning, noon, and night for 4 years. It was partly because of my mom's passing. It was, she died and I had nothing left to give in coaching. And so I remember I had a stemless wine glass and a pink straw. And I was laying down drinking wine because I was so sad. And this was April 8th, 2020. So we know the time zone.
Yeah.
I remember hearing my kiddo in the background and I was sipping wine because I was I'm tired. I'm going to have a glass of wine and honor her. And then the next night one night was a pink straw. One night was a green straw. And then I was this isn't how this goes down. This isn't how it is. And so I asked myself, what did I do as a kid that brought me joy? And I used to bead. So I made these first pair of earrings that were the seed bead earrings that are woven. I don't know if I'm not speaking to the correct crowd. But anyways, they're woven earrings, and I made them and I posted them on Facebook. They had a name, so everything had a message to go with them. So they whispered sweet nothings in your ears all day long.
Oh, cool.
And so like they were ride the waves. I posted them on Facebook. They sold in 2 minutes. Like I was like, thanks, mom. And off I went. But in the journey of the earrings was first I was willy-nilly. I'm like, this is what I should charge because this is fair. And then I learned how to like price the materials and look at my time and all of this. And then it was kind of at that crossroads of I burnt myself out a bit. I loved it. But in order for me to grow that business was like to hire overseas and that sort of thing. And I wasn't ready for that. And I was like, okay, pause. And I actually got a W-2 for a bit that kind of gave me that steady. I wanted to work with people. I realized a lot of the skill set that I had that in this other component of my world, I didn't realize I had.
Right.
It's like I have all the components to teach people how to do all the things I've learned. So in that was Boku Babe is the name of my business, which Boku means a lot in French.
Love it.
Yeah. And then that was born, and slowly but surely, I mean, it's not really that slowly. In all honesty, the other one spelled slow. This one is not. Slowly but surely, like I've been teaching people, you know, how to like heal their relationship with money, to shift it, to how they look at it, how they interact with it. Like I always talk about like the practical pieces and then the magical or energetic pieces with money, because there's both. And I intertwine them.
I love it.
Yeah.
You'll get a kick out of it. But I tell my team every day where I go and check the mail and I say, I'm just checking for checks. And I'll tell the team, I'm like, I need everyone to manifest some checks in the, checks in the mailbox and whatever. But no, I love that because I've always had a really good relationship with money as on a personal level once I have it. Like I've always been really conservative with my money. I've been good about keeping it. I've been good about, growing it and investing it and things like that. But it's a whole nother world when it comes to, especially entrepreneurs and self-employed people, of, making it and charging what you're worth and all these things. And it's like I alluded to at the beginning, and this is why I'm so excited to pick your brain. But I mentioned when I started Ascend, it was just like we would work with anybody, anywhere, at any budget, because we needed to make our ends meet and pay our bills and whatever. And what's been interesting for me is that it takes like getting to essentially a breaking point before I have to be at capacity and then like well beyond it before I'm like, I can't handle that or need to charge more or whatever. And so I've been trying to have this lens of like figuring out, making adjustments before I get to the, to the breaking point. But it's been weird. Like from my best way I can explain it would be, usually if you work really, really hard, you would think that you would make a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a ton of success, you would think that you're, going to make a ton of money. And at Ascent, I've been working really, really hard for 5 years and having a ton of success for 5 years. And until very recently have I started to like actually look at the money model. So we've been doing stuff like time tracking now and like really trying to figure out like what's our time worth and how much our team's working and anyway, all of that. So it's been cool. But I want to talk about, so definitely coming up to it and kind of seeing that journey, I'll call it, to get you to this point where now you're getting to help people with their relationship with money. One of the things that I'm interested about is kind of trying to think what the word is for it, but there's kind of like these social norms where money is taboo.
Mm-hmm.
And like we don't ask people how much they make or what they're doing. And I come from a place of, I think we need to talk about money more. Mm-hmm. Like, I think that we do ourselves a disservice by trying to think what the word I'm thinking of, but by making it taboo,
making it like hidden and like shameful. Like, we make it shameful and like, yeah, I agree.
What's your take on that as far as like how people should approach money from a like socially and, just even communication wise?
I think it's really, it's a touchy subject, as we know. But the thing is, it's like telling people what you make, depending on who you tell, can have different effects. So it's knowing there's a couple things. Like I obviously talk about money a lot now, and people will open up to me about money. But there are some people that it's not, safe to talk about money because they'll squash your ambition,
Right.
right? They'll bring up their money stuff will come up. So yes, I say having more money conversations is really key to soften that edge that money has, because even like it doesn't matter how much you have, you can like someone can have like or how much you make, because someone could make millions and still be at the level of just be broke. Yeah. So it's not a matter of like what we make. It's like you're saying, it's like the behind the scenes of what do we do with the money that comes in. And that's why it's so taboo, because someone will look at what they have, or like they have a ton of leased cars and they're like, juggling the money, and to each their own. And it's my biggest piece with having the conversations is it a place where someone isn't going to judge or stick someone? Because if just say, I shared with you, like, this is what I'm making, right? And you're like, oh, that's not very much. Or you're like, oh my God. And then you go like, I must be terrible if I'm not doing that, right? So it's this interesting, like we all have to do our like little bit of like self-checks, and then find the people like I have these conversations obviously with a lot of people, and like my clients will literally be like, help me look at my bank account and share the screen, right? But you're not going to do that with everyone.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that hard? Like, do you feel like in your line of work that's, I don't know, that you have to like build trust, or even in like somebody's engaging with you at a professional level to talk about money?
Yeah.
So like baseline you would think would be set, but is it still a little bit?
There's something like I think like if this is as much as this sounds like toot my horn, I'm designed for this because I can create that safety space. And some people take a little bit longer, but often people are like, they're so ready that they're like, this is what's happening. Tell me how to do something different. Right. So it doesn't take, they're ready to really shift that. I have had a couple of clients too that it's taken a while, and it's in a sense, I'm not a therapist, but sometimes it's like they're like, right. Like, I'm not a licensed therapist, but I am in some ways, because some people, it does take that little bit, and I'll get the pushback of like, I don't think you're telling me the right thing. I'm like, cool. Like, I'm going to ultimately too, when I talk to someone about their money, I'm like, what, like, let's go to your gut. Let's learn how your body talks to you so that you're making these decisions based on your truth. I'm going to give you the practical and how to look at it energetically, but we're going to actually do it so that like eventually you don't need me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My CFO said something to me recently that really stood out. And I think it kind of ties into what you're talking about, you could be making $1 million and still be living paycheck to paycheck. Or I know a lot of people that have built wealth on very modest salaries.
Yep.
I'm one of them.
Yeah.
Behind whatever. But he said that revenue is vanity, profit is sanity.
Yes, which is why I have the Profit Lab.
Yeah. Because there's like I'm in a mastermind group with agency owners, and it's funny because we talk about stuff like that, but it's careful. Like we'll say, what's your top line? Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, but you're never like, what's your bottom line? Right. Like, how much did you bring home? And that's been one of my biggest learning curves is forever. And in my background, I think you know this, but I climbed the ladder, and I call it corporate, but it wasn't corporate, but it was, a media backed agency. And I was always measured on top line. I was always incentivized on revenue. Like I never had to think about profit.
What's underneath?
What's left. And
okay, so can I pause you right there? Profit, here's the big difference. Profit is not what's left. You like the way I teach it is you design it so that profit comes first, and you pay yourself, and everything else gets run from that. Because if you wait for profit to happen,
there's never going to be any left.
No, never ever.
And it's wild.
And you'll be like, I don't know. What, like, where did it go? Right. And if you don't plan for profit, there's no profit.
Yeah. That's been one of the hardest parts for me owning a business for sure. And I wrestle with it because I subscribe in a really big way to servant leadership, and I want to put my people first and take care of everybody else. And I mean, it's my nature, right? Like I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a business owner. Like I eat last, like and I'm proud of that. Like I don't mind. It gives me fulfillment to live in I was a firefighter EMT forever. Like I like pouring into others. Yeah. But I'm learning that only gets you so far. And business wise, I've learned that the hard way, that if you wait till you're the last, you never will get it. Yeah. And I've seen our top line revenue skyrocket. And I keep thinking like, this is the month. this is the month, and then 5 years later, I'm like, oh, maybe I should. So maybe you'll tell me this is good or bad or not. But I did start doing a profit account.
Yes.
And
yes.
it's only 1% right now.
Hey, but that's
the instant we get paid, and I'm disciplined about it.
Yeah.
I put 1% in.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a lot, sometimes it's a little bit, but I'm at least like, and it's sitting there. I haven't taken it yet, so I still have some learning to do.
Yeah.
But it's at least like,
Okay, but it's there. Is it in a high yield saving account? That's your next step. Okay. There's a potential where you could put your money. Yeah.
And you might appreciate this though. I started doing, because I've been thinking about, this is so topical for me.
Yeah.
Like I've been thinking about this for 6 months, like really intentionally been thinking about like profit and making sure I get taken care of and all that. So the other thing I started doing is just 2 times a month, and it's not a lot, like $150, like it's not a lot, but into an IRA.
Yeah.
Which I've always been good about, like long-term investing, but it's always been
afterwards.
So now even if I don't take a draw, or if we don't have profit or whatever, there is some stuff going to investing. So.
That makes me happy because it's these little things like you said, we all go into it like, okay, I want to make this happen. I want to take care of my people, that I want to like serve these people, and okay, I'll give them a discount, and then like you're left last, and you're last. Right. And so, I like definitely put that profit in something that makes money for you. Right. There are, I forget, I can look it up, but I can send you information afterwards. But it really is important. Like, and I always tell people, like, when they're like, I can't even do profit, I'm like, put $1 a month away.
Yeah.
I don't care. Just put $1, because it's also like when we talked about the energetic piece, that when you start doing that, it builds.
Yeah.
It makes a difference. And you start, depositing into the IRA, all of a sudden that's there, and you have everything else.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and I want to dive into the energetic piece. I'll share a little bit of, background, because it's fun when I get to have these conversations, because I feel like a lot of time I do stuff instinctually, but I don't have the words for it.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how to explain it like you do,
Yeah.
But especially when I had my W-2 job and anyway, been really good about that. Like subscribing to the belief that it's not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep. And I've done always like these little things. Like I had it's called Hip Camp, but like we rent our property for people to camp on, like Airbnb, but for campsites. And it was not a lot of money, but a couple $100 a month or whatever. Yeah. And all of that would just get stacked and into investment accounts and whatever. And it's been cool because I have seen that come to fruition. Like last year, my wife and I bought a Airbnb short-term rental in Moab.
Yeah, that's right.
It was wild because I worked towards that for 7 years. Mm-hmm. 7 years ago, we went on a trip there, and I was like, I want one of these. Like, I'm going to figure that out. And at the moment, the moves seemed tiny. Like it would be $100, $500. Mm-hmm. Sometimes she'd have a big closing and it'd be big. But for the most part, really, it was like tiny drops. And all I would do is put them in the S&P 500 and reinvest dividends and let it grow and whatever. And all of a sudden, 7 years later, we had the down payment for it. And that was like awesome. And it was wild though to see like how it grew and how like these little tiny steps along the way, mm-hmm. got to a big goal, but it took 7 years.
Yeah.
It wasn't like it was overnight. But I want to talk more about the energetic piece. So, well, just define that for me. Tell me about the energetic relationship.
It has it encompasses so many things, but it's like how you think and feel and like how you relate to money and how you even like just say, I know for me back in the day when it was hard, grocery shopping like felt like terror because I was like, if I spend this, will I have enough? Right. And so it's like the energetics of like how you go spend, like how you go pay your bills. I remember too, when I was looking at I call it a spending plan, right? And it's like I was frustrated with paying for my cell phone at that point in time. This was years ago. I was like, you know what? I'm calling it my connection bill. Mm. And this is how I connect with my people. And all of a sudden like flips. So like the energy towards how I was looking at my bills changed because instead of like paying, the cell phone carrier, it was like, no, this is very inexpensive for me to connect to my family. right? And then, so the energy shifts, and then, whatever it is, this is the bill that like I get to stay warm in the winter. Like, how awesome is that? So it's like energetically how you look at how you're spending. And I'm totally going to call you out on something too right now. Can I?
Yes.
Is like what you've said a couple times, like the energy of like, it's not very much. Quit that. Okay. Because the energy is like, yes, I'm putting, it doesn't matter if it's very much, right? I tell my clients every penny you find is a celebration.
Yeah.
Like it truly is. And just like you said with the investing, it was like, it took 7 years, but over time, those little things. And I think that's what a lot of us don't understand in a world that's like clickety, 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 we have to go fast, is like these little choices, the $5. I know someone who does like a $5, every time they get a $5 bill, they put it in a jar and end up saving like thousands over the year. It adds up quickly.
Yeah.
So that verbiage too is the energy of like, I know it's not that much. Do you see that? Like my body's like, oh, right. And then, but really it's like, oh my goodness, yes, I'm putting more towards this. I wonder how quickly this can grow. That's too like the energetic shift.
Yeah.
Like, yes, this is happening. Yeah.
I would imagine that the same logic would apply to not only saving and investing, but to paying off debt.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Talk to me about that.
So to the energetics of debt, right? Because there's something in like, there's a worthiness piece in there. There's one of the ways that I paid off my credit card debt was I actually, and this is energetically again, for a long time, it was like, I just felt badly. And I felt like I was a terrible human because I had debt. I don't know how, right? And so I went through everything I spent money on and I went back and was grateful for it and like actually received it. And so for debt, like there's an energy of paying it off. There's multiple things here. There's the art of like, making the decision. And I have a fun story about my final debt payment. So there's the art of making a decision, right? And being like, no, I'm doing this. And oftentimes if you start to pay attention to your body, I know you're an athlete. If you start to pay attention to your body, there's a sensation that comes with it.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's like that. You keep coming home to that sensation of like, okay, I love to ask my clients, I'm like, ask your body to show you the energy of, right, being debt free.
Right.
Right. And the body does something.
Meaning like thinking of how that would feel once you're there.
Yeah.
That can exercise, like practice.
Well, there's twofold. There's one of looking at how it feels when you're there, but the sensation, like, the sensation of having to go to the bathroom, right? The sensation of hungry. But okay, let me just ask you this. Ask your body to show you the sensation of wealth. Something different happened in your body. Yeah. I know you just smiled, right? And your eyes got a little more twinkly, right? A little bigger. Yeah. So it's that part too of like, okay, body, show me the energy of, and it's subtle, right? Show me the energy of, and it's tapping into more of that energy. And then it's also, like I said, the decision. So my debt story, I decided that I was going to pay off all my debt. And then it was around Christmas time. I wanted to be finished with my credit card debt by the end of the year. But I have themed Christmases that are so much fun. And I was like, oh, but I wanted more of the like theme. It was pineapple Christmas that year. And we were going to Mexico and I was getting like pineapple trunks for the boys and like tanks for the girls and like pineapple stick on nails and all these things. And I was like, no, it's okay. Like I kind of had this wobbly moment of like, it's okay. I can do my last payment in January. And then all of a sudden I was like halfway through December, right? I'm like, no. I'm finishing this year. Like I'm going into the next year debt free. And so oddly enough, a bonus came in that was the exact amount of what I needed to pay on my credit card. And so it's those decisions and then taking away like, cause this world, like the world we live in is like, it's going to be hard and it's going to be like, you have to sacrifice. I'm not going to tell you to go and do like crazy things, but when you set your mind to it, and you get into like, there's that setting your mind to it and then getting in the energy of like, I am no longer the person who carries debt. Yeah. And you keep acting like that person. And then you have to watch yourself too after you get out of debt sometimes, because sometimes the energy
stay out of debt.
To stay out of debt, because it's like, that's what's comfortable is having debt. Right. And see, yeah.
I have a follow-up question, but finish up.
No, go. I'll pause. All right.
I'm interested in that. So 2024 for me was probably the best year I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
I was way fit. I was spending a ton of time outside. I was exercising like crazy. Business was going well. We had a ton of money.
Yeah.
Like I had, you know, it was at the end of saving for that, you know, so I was never worried about like a bad day or a bad month or a bad whatever.
Yeah.
Like, living well below our means financially, having more than we needed. My wife crushed it that year.
Yeah.
Just crushed it in real estate that year. And 2025 though, so end of 2024 is when we bought Moab, which I'm really proud of. And it's the best. I'm so glad I did it. But you know, we
then
all money's there, and then real estate market shifts, and you know, whatever. And so 2025 financially was a totally different year than 2024, and thank goodness we had Moab so we could go on some free vacations. but it was interesting, like, and I want to get your take on it and your thoughts. It was wild, like what it did to our ability to like be our true selves and to thrive. And like for me, it came about in running. Like I would sign up for a race and go, like no problem. Whole family would come, we'd get a hotel, like, you know, never even thought about registration fees. If I need new shoes, I'm getting them, like all good. But it like gave me this ability to live to the best of my truest version of myself, that then brought these other layers of fulfillment and happiness and things like that. And it wasn't like I was like buying stuff, but it gave this incredible amount of peace and freedom, and stress was not nearly, you know, like when you've got enough in the savings account, the day-to-day stuff doesn't matter nearly as much. What I'm trying to get at is I'm curious because we're talking about debt, and you had said something that I want to unpack a little bit of, like, I think your exact words were something to like, I'm not saying to do anything extreme or whatever. Yeah. My take is that having felt financial freedom, I think that feeling far surpasses, at least for me, anything it could have bought. Mm-hmm. Like anything really. And like we've, you know, well, whatever, but all these things that we delay or wait for, you know, like right now we have five of us living in a 1,400 square foot house. We need an addition, like desperately.
Right.
Not though more than the debt that would come with it. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like weighing those pros and cons. And so what I want to hear from you and kind of like your perspective or your take is let's just say somebody's listening right now and it's like, you know, I don't know, they've come to the conclusion that debt is normal. Right. Or that like, this is how my life's going to be for now on, or like that energetic piece of, I don't know, just like the thought process on, like for me, every time I spend $1 or save $1, it's like, I would rather have the emotional benefit of not spending it than the thing that I would spend it on would give me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about that.
Cool. One thing I want to say before I talk about that too is we all have a number that if it's in the bank, we relax. Right. And so it's like, I just wanted to touch on that because you said there was a certain amount and it felt really good because the day-to-day doesn't matter when you have this backing. Right. But so let me come back to your question, is like, ask me your question again.
Sorry. Yeah. And it was so long-winded. I'm sorry. But it's basically just like, you know, every day people are tasked with the decision of, should I spend it? Should I save it? Or, you know, what should I do with it, the money?
Right.
And I think most of the time for most people, it's an emotional decision.
Yeah.
I want the thing, or I want to look a certain way, or I didn't pack my lunch today, or whatever.
Yeah.
Or save it and keep it, and like weighing those pros and cons. Like, what's your take on, I guess I'll just call it like the emotional cost of where we put our money.
Yeah. So everybody's a little bit different. And I'll send you to the quiz that I have that actually tells you like your relationship style with money. Because some people are safety seekers and they want to hoard the money in a sense, right? Or they are constantly looking at their money. Some people are like the untethered dreamers that are like swipe, 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 right? And then there's the chaotic alchemists who are like a little bit like intense, and then they're like, I don't even want to know about it, right? So they kind of are like the safety seeker and the other tethered dreamers at like, depending on what time, like they go hardcore on dialing it in. And so this is where it's like different for everybody. And then there's the elegant architect who has more of that secure relationship with money. That's more of a steady, it's like being in a relationship with someone else, right?
Right.
And so I don't have it like each person, it would kind of be a little bit different, but ultimately based on like how they relate to money. Cause someone who's the kind of like touch and go person with money, I wouldn't like, they would have to like work through some of that stuff, right? Because there's more to just like than saying, do it this way, right? There's a lot of emotional pieces there. But I like the way you put it in that it's like, what is this actually going to cost me? Right. And so looking at that is like, does it like the energy that it like takes away from you, if debt weighs heavy on you, why would you keep it? Like it's such an energy drain where it's constantly like, this is where I think we all get exhausted if we have the chatter around, but there's so many things, but around finances, it's taking you away from everything else.
Right. Yeah, like the trip's not as fun when you're
when you're like,
you're
like, oh shit, they like my kids want like more of this. And like, I want to say yes, but I need to say no, but I don't want to, like, it's that. So it's really, when you're looking at it, it's like, what am I actually creating for? Because it's the dance of like living presently. And also like, so your future self is like, oh my God, thank you so much, past self. Because you put the money in the IRA, you invested, you saved, you have I like to call it my future fund instead of a, what is it?
Emergency fund.
No, because I don't want to plan for it. Like, I mean, sure, I'll have money for it, but like, no, thank you, emergency. No, we're not.
Thank you, Ramsey, for that.
But like, again, the energy piece, right? It's my future fund. It's going to be there for me in my future when I happen to need it. And so it really is like, what is this costing me? And doing that analysis. And like, sometimes it is figuring out, here's the other piece that's energetic too. Sometimes when people hold debt, there's something underlying that it gives them that they benefit from. And so it's also you have to go under the hood to look at, what do I love about being in debt? And that's a deeper thing.
Right.
Much deeper.
So to check my understanding with that, it sounds, and to make sure I don't like, make assumptions or anything, is there a right or a wrong way to approach money and debt? Or are you saying that it could vary depending on your relationship with money and what it means to you? Like, or are there just hard, fast, true, like truths when it comes to it?
So there are some hard, fast, practical truths that come to it. Like the practical pieces are like, you pay off your debt goes down. Like that's practical pieces. It's when the emotional part comes in, is like how you relate to money is the tricky part.
So like, to ask a hard one, let's say that, I don't know, you're talking to a client, or let's just say somebody's listening, like like hypothetically, and they're like, I don't care if I'm in debt. I care more that I'm, in the latest fashion trends,
right, or
whatever. In that case, then is that okay? Like that is valuable enough to them, or do you think that there's more? How would you approach that?
Well, if they came to me and they wanted more money, and they said, I don't care if I'm in debt for that, that's a red flag for me, right? That's like, that's contradicting.
Yeah.
So how do we, like, I literally have a bank account that's called Style and Joy that is specifically for clothing and fun, right? And so it would be with them. I wouldn't agree with that, in that, no, you want more money, but you're going to go into debt. That doesn't match. So let's look at that. Does that answer your question? Yeah. Because it's like, no, that's completely contradicting. And you can't have more money if you're spending more than you have.
Right.
It just doesn't work. So those are hard and fast. Like, you can't spend more than you're making. And like you said, I love that, you can become really wealthy on a modest salary.
Yeah.
You really can. And
really can. And one of the things, and I'll die on this hill, everybody I can talk to, I preach 529s. Like, I'm 529s, 529s, 529s. And it's funny because I think you know me well enough to get my personality in the sense that I'll like figure something out, or I'll like live something, or I'll like see that something's truth or whatever. Like I want the people that I love and care about to have it too. And I can sometimes come across as super salesy, which probably does me a disservice, but I'm just genuinely like, excited about it. And 529s are one of those. Like every time one of my friends has a kid or my brother or anybody, I'm like 529 the second they get a social security card. But like for us, and I'll change my verbiage with it.
Yes.
It's not a little amount.
No.
But we do $50 a month per kid.
Yeah.
And when I set it up, I wanted to do it at a level that I knew I could do for every kid and that I could do no matter how things went, that I could do that. And it's already adding up. Like my 7-year-old who's almost 8, it's there. Like it's not an insignificant amount of money.
No, it isn't. Yeah.
And it's only been 7 or 8 years of $50 a month. And so anyway, I forgot where I was going with that, but I was going somewhere with that, but now I don't remember.
I mean, I think it's too, like the mindset too. It's like we don't see, like $50 a month adds up quickly. Yeah. And then you put it in something that builds interest, it adds up even quicker. Right. And you think spending, just say if it was a vacation and, it's navigating, like the other piece is navigating what you really value. And then doing it like just as travel, just like you said, like travel and adventure, I have that very same value, right? Doing it in a way so that I can have both. Yeah. So sometimes it's more camping. Sometimes, like I remember even I took my son on an Idaho. Like I drove to Idaho and stayed at this campground that had a big pool, and then we ended up at this other campground that we had our own dock, and like it didn't cost me much, but I still got that sense of adventure. Yeah. And so it's like these little things add up, and if you look at the bigger picture and you go, okay, I could spend 10 grand and do this adventure, or I could spend 2 grand and put 8 grand in investment, and 10, 15, 20 years down the road, you're kicking butt and taking name.
Right.
And you still get the adventure and you have that like literal peace in your body.
Do you think that some of that has to do with maybe like the timeline, like the lens with which we view money as it relates to time?
Yes. And I think that a lot of people don't have that really, like I didn't have the long-term vision. I was in full-on survival mode. And then I also grew up in we weren't broke, but we didn't have money. Right. And so it was always like, and I thankfully, like my dad's has been opening up more about what it was like. I'm like, no wonder it was that way for me. Like it's not that way anymore for him. But I was like, no, it's how we're brought up. And the thing that gets tricky with that is that even if people are brought up in it, like where the parents are saying they're fine and it's not, we energetically feel the difference.
Yeah.
So we think that it's fine is stress. So we live that as if it's true. And so that's the underlying energetic piece that we're talking about too, is how we view the money. So, and how like there isn't an understanding of $50 a month makes a big difference. And if you look at your spending, and again, this, like, it was the moment I really looked at what it costs to run my life that I was like, oh, okay. The clarity made a big difference for me. It was just kind of like I was just trying to make it by. But if we look at that consistency over time, that's not common things that are taught.
Right.
It's just not, because back to the beginning.
Taboo.
Right.
Yeah.
But if all of us as parents, like, I don't know if you saw my post the other day, was like this note from Felix with a $20 bill and a $50 bill. Yes. And it had a note from him. It was like a 20 and a 50. And he put an arrow. He's like, please put this in my high yield savings with an arrow. And please put this in my checking. But nobody teaches, like, not nobody, but the majority.
Generally speaking, yeah.
Nobody's taught to save. I was sent off to school and I didn't know how I was going to do things.
Yeah. What advice then would you have for parents that are listening as far as like starting to instill a healthy relationship with money with their kids?
They have to heal theirs first. Yeah. All right. I have to do them first. I don't know if you know this, total parent. I'm sure you know this. If your kid is ever doing something that is bothering you, you look at where you're doing that first. You change that and your kid stops.
Yeah.
Like, so to heal your relationship with money, I know you don't. That's like, this is where I'm like, I get you. But no, if you want your kids to have an easier relationship with money, one, start healing it so you're not talking about it and projecting your wounds on them.
Yeah.
And start having conversations. Start like have them learn with you. Look, we're gonna, like, Felix just got he has a custodial IRA. And so he's one of my employees. He works for me, right? And so he knows he gets a certain amount, and a certain amount is withdrawn to his IRA, and a certain amount goes to high yield savings, and the rest he has for play. And in the high yield savings, we kind of have this plan where he pretends that like he's paying rent, and like he has these ideas of like, these are the basic costs of living, but at like not at the what I would be paying, but in the ratio similar to. And so that's what I would do, is start walking them through. And if you have extra, or if you have a business, I'm sure you know that you could
You said employer pays.
yeah. And start having them like look at their money, maybe, or it's a jar system where it's like if they have allowance or they work for money, like have them look at how they save. Yeah.
Yeah. Love it. You talked about earlier there, like this exercise of figuring out what your life costs. And those weren't your exact words, but talk to me about that. Cause it sounded almost like it was, I don't know, like almost you viewed it through how I would view the lens from a business.
Yeah.
Like just, I don't know, walk me through that exercise. Cause I think that'd be valuable for others to do.
Yeah. So you can do this two ways. This is the way, like the first way I did it was I literally for an entire month, I had my little notebook smaller than this little thing right here. And I wrote down every penny that I spent down to like money in the meter. And I got a really clear picture of like, these are my spending habits, and realized, those are interesting. And then kind of over like the other way, which I did in addition, was like look back to my past spending. Like it's easy if you're using a debit or a credit card, right? And you look and see what you're spending and you categorize it. You're like, oh, on average, I spend this much on this. And you start to see like, oh, just like we talked about, is this subscription worth it to me? Right? Am I actually using, Rocket Money has that big thing of like, how many subscriptions do you have? Right. So it's like, it's the manual way. And I recommend, I know there's AI and I know there's tech, but you actually looking at what you spend and having that cognitive resonance with.
Builds a relationship with it.
Exactly. Having that relationship with it is key. Because then it's like, oh, I'm actually spending, and it's not a right or wrong. It's like I'm spending X amount on dinners out. If I knock that down by 200, I can stick 200 in an investment account every month and make more meals at home, and potentially even not even spend more because there's so much food going into the garbage, right? So it's having like getting that clear picture. And I have my clients do that and do like an average of the average, like sometimes like beauty or kids or pets, and kind of like what you spend on. So, have a sense of what it does cost to run your life. Because if you don't know that, again, just like a business,
if you don't measure it, you can't change it.
You can't change it. And yeah, like just like doing the profit last, which I don't recommend.
There's a whole boat called profit.
I know it well.
Easier said than done.
But it's wild. There's actually, I don't know if you know, there's a bank now. Have you heard of the bank that actually will disperse it?
Oh no!
Or it's Relay. I can send you a link if you want it. But it's great because you can have all the accounts without extra costs, and have it. Everything comes into that main account, and it will distribute the percentage for you. Yeah. So then you're not like taking the manual piece out. But like I said, having that manual moment builds that relationship. Like I'm showing up for money.
Well, and for me, it's been cool because I get to start to see like it adding up. Like I said, I've just been doing 1% for like the last 4 months. Like it's not, but it's big.
Not just.
Yeah, right. Thanks. See, this will look good. You'll have to keep care of it. I've been doing 1%, not just.
You would like, because 1% of different numbers.
Sometimes it's big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one, like you're committed to 1%.
Now I need to learn to actually take it. Because here's what's funny about me. Like you'll appreciate it, but I've gotten disciplined about it, and it's in there, and it's in its own account, and it really is the profit account.
Right.
I have yet to take from it though.
So just please
if it's just sitting in the business, it's still just there because I have this like, it'll probably help us lead into my next question, because I want to talk about like pricing and charging what we're worth and anyway, all that stuff. But well, I don't know. I'm probably a good case study in like that. I have really good intentions. Like I see the things, I learn about the thing, I read Profit First, and starting to have a better emotional relationship with my business money, which it's so funny and probably a topic for another podcast. But personally, I've got my money model just dial, like in my like private life, like my life. the business is where I have room to grow.
Right.
So I'm starting baby steps. And it's there now. Now I'll learn how to take it at some point. But I want to talk about, because one of the, some stuff that I've seen of you putting out there is like teaching people, you even alluded to it earlier about your earrings, like charging what's fair.
Yeah.
Or whatever, you know,
which hurts now. Right.
Right. It's like, oh, and because it's been eye opening. So I've recently started to, like I said, we started doing time tracking and like really looking at profitability for account and whatever. And part of where the evolution I think has become really powerful for me is an abundance mindset and like getting out of scarcity mode. Because early on, it's like, we need every dollar. Like we need every dollar. And then I shifted the lens that I looked at it through. And I realized that even if they are paying us, we're doing more than they're paying us. And so it's actually costing us. So like, we're going to raise the price or they're going to leave, and either one's a win.
Right.
But it took 5 years for me to get there and well past the breaking point, you know, like, so talk to me about that of like, I don't know, just like your advice or how you would coach somebody from and maybe we'd look at it through the lens of like a solopreneur or, you know, somebody who's charging for their services, like a one-on-one type of thing. Fair versus value. Just
I know.
Talk me through that.
So I have a WTF do I charge profitability calculator because I love spreadsheets, but I really do walk them through sometimes, like just say, even if they were doing a package, because even for marketing, like I've done this for marketing before, where you look at the package and how many hours it truly takes. Right. Because I think like for creatives too, we get into our work and it's like 10 hours later and we're like, oh, sure, that was like 2 hours. Right? And we were like, sure, we'll just like, I have tracks now, but I struggled to track because that's like, I don't want to be interrupted with my time. But yeah, being able to track it, and looking at, so one of the exercises I do with people too, to find their value is to go back to all of their qualifications, their jobs, how long they've been like working. Like sometimes, you know, they have all kinds of certifications or they have all the experience, and to really map that out and to have the eye-opening experience of like, oh, I have so much information to give, right? And so they see the value of it. The other pieces is like, for marketing, it's like what's they're getting out into the world and getting their business out. And for some of the solopreneurs I work with, it's like the transformation that they're getting. So we look at not only the hours and what is being put in, but also we look at the value of the transformation.
I was going to say value-based pricing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it is a dance of how I take people through like the actual, again, practical, magical, right? The practical pieces of like, this is the amount of time it takes for you. Like if they're just say a coach like me, I'd be like, yeah, I spend an hour with them, but what am I doing? Like
all the prep time afterwards.
The prep time afterwards, that even like sometimes like spreadsheets get built from different things, and it's not just the hour. So we have to remind them like, it's not just the hour. Like you look at yoga instructors, right? It's not just the hour that they're teaching. Like, so help them look at the practical pieces, and then we look at the transformation or what they're getting on it. And then I always, again, I do a gut check, because here's the thing. If you overprice yourself, like there's always some emotional component to this. If I take someone, just say they're charging $60 an hour, right? Which please don't, because you need to be like, for like, if you're a therapist or something, there's more to it. And I say, okay, now you're going to charge $225. Their entire body's going to go,
yeah,
and they're going to repel it, right? And they're not going to be able to say it. So the other part around pricing is I start to have them say, just say we have like pricing is like, okay, practice like you were like with someone, be like, okay, now the price is $2,500. Now the price is $3,500. And I have them say it. So again, they come back to their body and they can feel the like, and then they're like, now it's $9,000, right? They whisper and you're like, okay, we're not good. Like
now we're too far.
Now we find the sweet spot of where the pricing within the true transformation and the value of it and what you're currently comfortable to charge. Because if you're saying, you're badass and you're saying all the things that you're going to do for them, and then you're like, and then the price is this, and you whisper it, you're losing them.
Yeah.
So it's that, does that like give you the clear picture? So again, like total spreadsheet person, let's get the information, the details, and let's have a conversation with ourselves and our bodies around what's true.
And I've wondered too, because I don't know, like things changed a ton for me when I like probably year 2 at Ascent, or 8 months in or something like that, where we started having bigger budget clients, and a lot of it was just that we changed our minimums and whatever. But it was cool because one, the perception of us changed. Like, it's one thing if you're paying somebody $100. It's another thing if you're paying them $5,000, $10,000, whatever. And we have clients now that have huge budgets. And the second thing though I learned, and this is probably isolated to the marketing world, but maybe not, we got better clients because they bought in because the investment was bigger.
Right.
So like we would have better communication, better collaboration. And then the third thing I learned was they got better results because the budgets were healthy enough.
Right.
And when they got better results and when they were invested, they were happier. So like it all, that was, that was 4 years ago. Like I'm now I'm redoing this whole exercise, but it was cool. And I'm curious though, like, cause I would imagine that especially a lot of solopreneurs or first time entrepreneurs, there's this dance with, you need, like when I started, I'm best way I could explain it is that I thank goodness, had just an abundance of blind optimism.
Which is always good to have.
Just stubborn enough to be just go for it. Yeah. And thank goodness I had that. Because had I known how hard it was going to be, I don't know that I would have ever taken the leap. I'm so glad I did. But gosh, it's been 10 times harder than I expected. And we could have a whole podcast about that. But early on, I genuinely did need every dollar. And so it's like, I don't necessarily regret, taking bad clients or whatever. And it also afforded me an opportunity to learn what I don't want, learn what I'm not good at, like learn, these things. And so it's, I don't know, I'm curious your take on that of like somebody who's at the early stages. Yeah. Because for me, it's been 5 years of guessing, testing, and revising and school of hard knocks, but in hindsight, I've learned so many valuable lessons. Like now, you'll get a kick out of this, but we do like a discovery. It's a consultative sales process. So we do a discovery and then a proposal and whatever. And for years, I'd have the discovery and there would be red flag after red flag after red flag. And I'd be like, but this one might be different, like, hey, so I go to proposal, I land it and I hate it. And 3 months later, they're gone anyway. And, whatever. And finally, I am a slow learner in that sense, because maybe it's because I'm too optimistic, but finally now I pay attention to the red flags and like, this probably isn't a fit, at the moment. But again, I've got 5 years of mistakes under my belt. Yeah. I want to know kind of let's say somebody who's listening right now and they're starting their personal brand, they're whatever it is, it's a solopreneur or it's a very small startup or something. That balancing act of like, you need to charge what you're worth, but you need to pay your bills and you need to, keep the door open. Like, what's your advice to somebody who's at that stage?
Yeah, there is a dance there. Because too, like you said, there is the dance too. Like, I think we all have to go through a little bit of that. Like, oh shoot, I knew I needed to not take that. I needed that client. I took the client for money, not because they were a fit. Right. We all go through that. And so I think there is that dance, and it's where it also would depend on like, do you have someone at home that's covering the bills? Right? That's a whole different story. If someone's at home covering the bills and you don't have to like, you're not the sole proprietor, not proprietor, but the sole earner of the family provider. Then you have a little more spaciousness to be like, sit in the seat of like, no, this is what I charge. This is what I'm doing. I'm not taking on anything else. Even when people have that, they still have that wibbly wobbly things I've seen. Whereas if you're the sole provider, sometimes you do just have to take it. And you learn the valuable lessons, like you said, of like, oh, when I charge less, this is my favorite thing to tell people. When you charge less, they're more demanding.
Without exception.
Yeah.
And I think any industry, any person, like, that's a fact of life.
It is. And I still don't understand the concept of it, but it's just the truth.
What is that?
I don't know.
Because I'm working with a lot of lawn care clients right now. And even they're saying like the homeowner that has a smaller budget is the hardest. Yeah. Every industry, it's It's like, I'm telling you, that's a truth.
It is the truth. I haven't cracked that nut yet. Why? All I know is like this is why, again, the money piece is such an interesting conversation, because you actually, in order for someone to step up and step in, they have to invest a certain amount. You offer a freebie. How many people put the freebies into place?
Yeah.
Not many. Some. There are a rare few. But yeah, no, the less people pay, or the less, like the more
demanding they are.
The more demanding they are.
The other thing I've learned too that I want to get your take on is that, you know, it used to be my mindset was like, my bills are paid and, you know, I do pay myself a salary and it's a living wage. I support my family on my salary. So like, I'm doing fine. And then profit, if I can just have profit after that, that's great. Like whatever level. And my relationship with profit has changed drastically in the last probably 6 months, where I've realized that it's not a luxury, it's a necessity. Like, and it's not like profit for Ben's pocket or anything like that. But if we're not operating a profitable business, it's diminishing my ability to properly serve my clients, because I can't pay top talent. I can't provide benefits. I can't, you know, get the good software. I can't do these other things and so it's kind of helped me shift my perspective on profit. And I don't know if it's because I've had a chip on my shoulder, or I'm conservative by nature, or I've had to earn everything I've ever gotten in my whole life, or whatever. But I've always kind of had this, like, guilt's not the right word, but a hesitation to be excessively profitable, like that it would almost be unethical. And I've learned now, though, that it's a good thing to make money because of how it lets you then be a better business. Like, so now I'm viewing profit as not and would be nice to have, but a necessary thing to keep the machine running so that we can evolve and survive and serve our, like, I genuinely believe that my clients should want for me to be profitable because it's going to enhance the ability for me to serve them better.
Yep.
So I want to hear your take on, like, the ethics of profit.
The ethics of profit.
Or, like, you know what I mean? Like, because some people have that, like...
Well, again, it comes back to your money story, right? And so I think that, I mean, to each their own. I'm not going to, like, I'm a person who can see all the, like, ways, the whole spectrum. Like, I'm not the person who's like, this is the way. And that's why I think I work really well with the money, is because it's like, there are so many different avenues to get you to where you want to go. But the ethics of profit is like, what you're saying is, like, in my own ethos is like, yes, just like you said in your Family Life 2024, when there's a certain amount available to you, there's a relaxation, you deliver better.
Yeah.
So 100% on the profit. And as long as, like, from where I sit, as long as it's not like you're the person who's like has all these people in your office who are on the struggle bus, because you don't want people on the struggle bus, right? You don't want them in, like, filming videos thinking, like, I don't know, like, my rent check's going to come out. I don't know if there's going to be enough. Like, you don't want that. So I think there's, like, a wonderful thing around setting yourself up to pay your people really well and yourself and be profitable. And so I think where we get tripped up is just, like, lots of people have, like, opinions around quote unquote rich people doing mean things. And like you said, more money doesn't make you bad. It makes you more of who you are. And so again, that profit piece is like, how do you want to live your life? And, like, one of the reasons I want to have more profit is I want to be able to, like, when something happens to someone in the community and there's a GoFundMe, I want to be able to slap a whole bunch of money there.
Like, really impact.
Like, just, yeah.
I saw a news story the other day. This manufacturing company in California sold for, you know, 200 million, like something crazy. And he paid enormous bonuses to all of his employees. And I saw that and I'm like, that's what I'm after. And I know it sounds weird, or like, but I want to make a ton of money so that I can impact the world. Yeah. Like, those GoFundMe, like, it was, you know, and we're on our way back. So, you know, reinvent, whatever, like, transition moment with the investments. But there's something so fulfilling and empowering about, like, being in a position to help others too, that if you don't help yourself first, though, you never would be able to.
Exactly. Yeah. Or you're depleted. And there's something else I was going to say. You said something really potent. I think the train left the station.
Ethics of profit.
It's like profit.
Rich people being bad.
Yeah, I like
being able to help others.
It's the being able to help others, and like the ethics of profit are like, again, if you're there's got to be something in you if you're keeping all, like, again, the mindset, if you're keeping all the profit for yourself because you're feeling scarce, or like, and again, it's the deeper work in someone who's doing that, who's making profit and paying their employees poorly. There's a deeper,
Then that's maybe a problem.
That's it. There's a deeper thing there. But like, again, we need to create profit in our business because they're not gonna they're not gonna survive, let alone thrive.
Right.
And to have, like, I mean, just we have to build our own economies. We can't, like, I know, like, and the other piece too is like, we can look around and see what like the like the outside world is saying, but we have to go and be like, no, I know, like, you want to be profitable and this is what you want to do with it. That's ethical, right? Whereas if we go into the mindset of, I can't be profitable because that makes me XYZ, you're buying into like 80% or maybe even probably 90% of the world thinking it's an either or.
Right.
It's not an either or. When you, like, I hope that your CFO is designing this with you, in that it's not you having profit doesn't take away from the thing. It's you're designing the whole ecosystem so that profit lives there, and so does all the other pieces.
Yeah, I mean, I would go so far as to even say that profit enhances that thing. Like, the more profitable we are, the better I can pay my employees. And like, to your point, the happier they are, the better they deliver, the better results my clients get. Like, this whole, it really does feed back in, I think, even directly to the people that are paying it.
Yeah.
Like, back and forth.
Totally. And so then I'm going to touch on this, and it's a little bit of more of an energetic topic, but we all have an energetic set point with money within our personal lives and business. And so what happens too, when you start to put profit aside, and this is where hopefully this takes away the scary part of putting profit aside, is you have this energetic set point of what it costs to run your business, right? And so you add the element of profit, what it takes to run your business still gets to come in. You're just elevating that energetic set point. Yeah. You're doing this. If your mindset is like, oh, I can't take profit because I'm going to have less, then we know mindset wise you're going to have less. But if you go, no, I'm actually elevating my my energetic set point. Like, I did this with where I live now. It was like, okay, who do I get to become as someone who pays this much for her house, right? And I stepped into it and haven't looked back. And it's just like that when you go for profit. It's like, okay, who do I get to become as the profitable business owner? And you step into how you dress. And I'm not saying like you have to dress a certain way, but like,
my wife says so. This is where my teacher.
I know, but it's like how you, the act of getting dressed. Are you getting dressed like someone who's like, not feeling good about themselves? Or are you getting dressed as someone who's running a profitable business? It's different. I mean, sometimes, yeah, like it is sometimes, like, I know for your wife with what she does, yeah, she needs to look a certain way,
right? Because
people won't take her seriously. But it's like, how do you nourish yourself? How do you show up for your kids? And you step into that as that person. And your mindset can take you like, oh man, I have to work harder now that I'm doing profit. We have to get more people. No. Decision. It's going to be profitable. I know energetically I can cover this and then some, and you just start to grow like that.
I love it because I'm such an energy guy. Like I joke that I'm operating on just, a dream. And I have a CFO, and I am getting more analytical about it, but very sincerely, I don't think I'll ever change that. Is that I just trust. Yeah. Like, I just know that it's going to work. You know what I mean? And so like recently we've been in a really big growth surge, and I don't know how it's going to flesh out financially. I know it's going to be fine, but I just put it in the universe. Like, I'm hiring proactively. I'm getting the help in place. I know that the money will come. Mm-hmm. And I'm curious your take on that, of like that balance between, writing down what your life is going to cost and whatever. And I'm not implying by any means to like go finance a boat and cross the figures, but there is something about that. Like, I don't know. Like, I remember when my wife and I bought our house, it was such a stretch at the time, but I was like, I know we'll figure it out. Like, we'll make this work. We're kind of like growing into that, know? What's your take on that balancing act of the energy of it, of knowing that it'll come, kind of manifesting it, putting it out there, showing up accordingly.
Yeah.
Versus also like, is it in the budget yet? You know what I mean? Like what,
Yeah.
how do you balance that?
So I do personally think you have to do those stretches sometimes to show yourself that you're capable, right? Like there is the responsible, like there is like making sure you're taken care of financially, but to push, like you said, with your house, to push that edge and be like, I know we can do this. And it shows you that you're capable, which ends up turning up the dial. Like I'm guessing that when you bought your house, something happened and you made more money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that. And so again, like choice creates. But again, it's where the choice comes from. You said a really important thing. You trust it. If you're doing it from like
a place of fear,
I hope, and I wait for this decision again. I feel it in my body. I will wait for it. I mean, like, I know it, like, it's kind of like, and now, right? It's that sensation, but there is really something big about being like, no, I'm going to take this program or I'm going to invest in this. And it stretches you, but it stretches you in the most beautiful way. But again, it's that edge of like, what is the edge of that? So it's looking at that.
I think that same logic probably applies to pricing, to be honest. Like there's a saying in my group too, that if you're too busy, you're not charging enough.
It's true.
You know?
Oh yeah.
Like,
yeah.
If you're, and that concisely explains where we're at in our business at the moment, which is a great thing because I've identified it and, you know, now we can make some shifts on it. But I think that like line of how much should I charge? You know, I worked at Garden Swartz when I was in college. I worked at Garden Swartz for a while, and there were these custom knives, and it was fascinating. Like some of them would be $700 and some of them would be $200, and the $700 knives sold 5-1 to the $200 one, and they're made by the same guy. And you know, it's just fascinating. Like, because I think too, sometimes when it comes to pricing, like the person we're working with, our client or our customers or whatever, they have a problem that you have the ability to solve, but they don't know what that's worth. Like they don't know you know, and I think at some point you almost have an obligation to put a value on, like you said, not only the time and materials and whatever, but like the value of solving that problem.
Yeah.
And I think it's something, you know, you pick it and maybe it's I mean, you know, I'm in a cool situation now where we don't need more business. And so I get to like test it and, you know, see where the ceiling might live. But I think even somebody starting, like, what's the worst case scenario? You lose a client that you would have gotten, that you learned that maybe, you know, like if you're not getting a ton of price objections,
that's when you need to raise your
probably your price isn't too high.
Yeah. It's true.
And we never get price objections, which is a problem.
Yes, you need something to look at. But it is true. Like if you're not getting price objections, there's room for you. And then also sometimes that there's a cleaning out of, you know, the like clients that, you know, are paying the lower prices that are hard to deal with, that you need to raise your prices so that you're working with the people that actually value what you have, because once you value it, they value it.
Do you think that that's I think that ties into the energetic piece. Like, I think a lot of the time my hesitation to increase pricing is out of fear of losing those clients. And again, lessons learned the hard way. But what I've learned is when I do, it actually opens up space for the client that is right for you.
Yep, it does. 100%.
And it's almost like that same energetic piece of like, you know, like I said, it's not like, you know, blindly making a bad financial decision. That's totally different.
Yeah.
But there is, I think, so much truth to like, I don't know, having enough confidence in that if I do lose this book of business or these clients or whatever, that now opens up space in myself, my energy, you know, whatever, to then attract the people that do value me or that are paying the right price or things like that. I think it kind of ties in with that energetic piece.
It does. And if you're showing up on client calls like, right, and you're tired, there's like, it's worth raising your rates to either lose them or have them step up and pay that, because that piece will change. Like if you're not charging enough, it's going to be exhausting.
Yeah. If you're too busy, you're not charging enough.
Yeah. And but also like even if you're not charging enough and you're not too busy, if there isn't like that value exchange, it's going to be draining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk to me about the Profit Lab.
So the Profit Lab, it's an 8-week program where I'm helping all these entrepreneurs like walk through the systems to put their financial, like it's like becoming the CFO of your business, really, but it's in a lab format where I teach them like a lesson, and then on the Tuesdays and Thursdays they get to come in and actually implement it and ask questions, so that like when the stuff comes up, when they're like, I'm looking at my numbers, I'm there, but they're putting the financial systems in place. So like you were talking about, like, sure, you can wing it, but there comes a point in your business where it's like, it's time.
Probably should stop winging it.
Yeah, yeah, right. So this is how you wherever you are, you can be a newbie or you can be in a season, and like it's time to stop winging it and have the profit. Yeah. That's exactly what the Profit Lab's about. And I nerd out on that stuff. So
that's so fun.
Yeah.
Maggie, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I could talk to you for hours and hours and hours. So we're going to have to do this again. But I just got to tell you how refreshing it is, because I think, like I said, I believe adamantly that people should talk about money more, like in business or in their personal finances. And it's been cool to see how you've kind of, already starting to take the stigma. That's the word I was looking for.
There it is.
Take the stigma out of it, and, training people to see their worth and to realize that like money can be a really good thing. And, anyway, it's awesome. So I have a gift for you.
Oh yeah.
This is my traditional inspire by example shirt.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Because it really is inspiring. And I genuinely think that, people should analyze their relationship with money and worth, and that energetic piece is so, I don't know, that just resonates with me in such a big way of like, if we don't value ourselves, obviously nobody else is going to, and charging what our worth. And anyway, all of that to say thank you, because it really is inspiring. And I hope that people, continue to buy in and hear that message, and continue to remove the stigma around money, which I, for an hour, couldn't think of that word. But anyway, all that to say, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was great. I love having these conversations. So definitely another one indeed.
No doubt.
Yeah. Thank you.
So